Hey there, welcome to Solving for y equals mx plus b notes. This is just a kind of an overview over how you solve an equation for y and get it in your slope-intercept form, and then how are you going to graph that equation by hand, okay? So let's go over what it means to be in slope-intercept form. Your slope-intercept equation is y equals mx plus b. Your m and your b stand for two very specific things. What could they possibly stand for? Well, it's called the slope-intercept equation. So one of those is the slope and one of those is the intercept. Your m is your slope, which means your b must be the intercept. But what kind of intercept is it? It is the y-intercept. If you have a y equals equation and you have an intercept, that means you have a y-intercept. If you had an x equals equation and you had an intercept in the equation, that means you would have an x-intercept. So this one's y equals, this is your y-intercept. There's only two axes, x and y. We're dealing with two-dimensional graphs here. So you can either only have an x-intercept or only have a y-intercept. When in doubt, call it the y-intercept. Okay? So b is the y-intercept. All right, and then you just need to remember, what does slope mean? Slope is interpreted as the rise over the run, meaning I'll look at that slope number and I'll move up, or it'll tell me how to move up or down, and it'll also tell me how to move side or side. It'll tell you your pattern. Okay, once you know that, I feel like you know enough to get started. Um, Solve each equation for y, and then identify the slope and y-intercept values, and then graph it by hand. That's what I'm going to do in these three examples. So each example is in standard form, meaning the x and the y are on the same side and it just equals a number. So you want to get into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to do this by two steps every single time. I'm going to add or subtract that x term to the other side, and then I'm going to multiply or divide whatever number is by the y out, and then it'll be in y equals mx plus b form. So I have x plus 3y equals 6. So it's a positive x, so I'm going to minus it to the other side. It's important to note, 6 minus x, those are two different terms. Does that 6 have an x with it? No, it's just a 6. So do not say 6 minus x equals 5 or 5x. Don't say that, all right? Keep them separate because they're not like terms. So either write down 6 minus x, or I prefer negative x plus 6. Why do I prefer writing negative x plus 6? Because it's y equals mx plus b. Sorry, whoa. Lost control of this for a second. Y equals mx plus b. So the mx term comes first, and then the number comes second. So yeah, I like to just put it out in front. It was a negative x or minus x, so put that in front. And it was a positive 6, so I'll put plus 6. Bring down the 3y. So they're separated by the equal sign. 3y equals negative x plus 6. How do I get rid of the 3? Well, they are married or multiplying together. 3y means 3 times y. So the only way to divide them is to divorce them. I don't know, I'm saying it backwards. They're married together, so the only way to split up a married couple is to divide them. So I'm going to divide by 3. In my other videos, I said it better. But I say it a lot. So 3y over 3, that cancels. So that makes y equals. And then I have negative x over 3. When you don't have a number with the x, it's understood you have a 1 with it. This is the most misinterpreted piece of information in math that I know about. People understand that there's a 1 by the x, so they think x is 1. That's not what I'm saying. X is x. Okay, x is going to be x until you know what it is. The reason why it's x is because it's a variable. You don't know what it is until you figure it out. Or it can stand for multiple values. That's why it's called a variable. So don't assume x is 1. No, if you're just looking at an x, then you're looking at 1x. That's the whole point I'm trying to make here. 6 over 3, that'll make 2. So I'm going to write negative 1 over 3x plus 2. When you have fractions, I prefer writing the x on the side of the fraction. But yeah, now it's in y-intercept form. Okay? So, or y equals mx plus b form. But it's called a slope-intercept form. That's what I should say. I said y-intercept form. What is your slope? Your slope is your m. And don't include the x by it. It's just the number by the x. Okay, and then what is the b? That's the number that's by itself. B by itself. So the 2 is by itself. It says plus 2, so I'll just write down a positive 2. This is your y-intercept. That tells you where to start. Okay, so I just wrote down a little note, start here on the y-axis. So I'm going to go and I'm going to look at my graph, and I'm going to start at 2 on the y-axis, and then my slope is negative 1 over 3. So that means I'm going to go down 1 to the right 3. So here's my graph. Start at 2, go down 1 to the right 3. Down 1 to the right 3. Sometimes I get questions that are, somebody will ask, well, sir, it's negative, so why don't you go to the left? Well, if it's a negative fraction, then you have like negative 1 over 3. So that 3 is technically a positive number. So you got to go in a positive direction for the 3, which is to the right. Your positive directions are moving to the right on the x-axis, and then it's going upward on the y-axis. Your negative directions are downward on the y-axis or leftward on the x-axis. So if you went down and to the left, then you went in a double negative direction, down and to the left. That's technically having a negative over a negative, which would cancel out. That's moving in a positive direction. So you want to go down and to the right. So down 1, right 3, and then put a dot. And then for the backwards points, you want to go up 1. That's a positive direction, but now you're going to go left 3, which is your negative direction. So you still have one positive number and one negative number. Okay, so you're not changing the pattern at all. So up 1, left 3, up 1, left 3. And then once you get a few points, this is enough to draw my line. And that's all there is to it. Maybe you can connect the dots better than I did there. But yeah, that's it. So I'm going to do 2 more examples like this. So I have 2x plus 4y equals 12. First step, add or subtract that x term to the other side. So this is a positive 2x, so I'll minus it over. Okay, so I have 4y equals, and then 12 minus 2x. Those are not like terms. So I'm going to write 4y equals negative 2x plus 12. I'll keep them separate, and then again, I put the x term first. So I was minusing 2x, so I'll put it as a negative 2x in front, and since it was a positive 12, I'll put plus 12. Now I have 4y. They are married or multiplying together, so I'll divide them away from each other. So what you do to one side, you have to do to the other, and so when you're dividing, you're going to have to divide everything by 4, okay? So y will equal negative 2x over 4. That can simplify. 2 over 4 is 1 over 2, so negative 1/2 x plus 3. So the slope is with your x. The slope is m married to the x. So m is negative 1 over 2. And b, your y-intercept or your starting point, is just 3. So that means I'll start at 3 on the y-axis and then go down 1 over 2. Here's my graph, starting at 3, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. All right, and then I'll do some going in the opposite direction, up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. Okay, that should be plenty for my line, but there we go. Example 2 is done. So now I'll go to the last example. 2y minus 8x equals negative 10. Add or subtract that x term over to the other side. So I'll plus 8x over. And I won't combine it with the negative 10 because they're not like terms. They don't have the same letter in common. So 8x goes out in front. And it was minus 10, or so negative 10, so I'll write minus 10. And then just bring down the equal sign and the 2y. So I'll need to divorce or divide everything by 2. Don't subtract out the 2. Remember, 2y means 2 times y. So divorce, divide everything by 2. So y equals 8 over 2 is 4. So y equals 4x. 10 over 2 is 5. So y equals 4x minus 5. All right. So the m is going to be 4. And then since I'm talking about the slope, whole numbers can be written over 1. So m is 4 over 1. That means I'm going to go up 4, right 1, up 4, right 1. Okay, and my b, my starting point, is at negative 5. So I'll start at negative 5 on the y-axis. So here's my graph. Go to negative 5 on the y-axis, put a dot. And now since my slope was 4 over 1, I'll go up 4, over 1, up 4 over 1, and then I can go down 4, left 1, in that double negative direction. And there's my line, and I'll just gotta connect the dots. Did not do a good job of connecting those dots. But yeah, there we go. That'll wrap it up for these notes. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you want. And bye.